Tech finds it just slap. So this is my Opal webcam that makes you feel super confident, look great when you're on conference calls, and it's insanely better than this.
There it is. I think it's working now. Thanks, guys. Welcome to the chat. And as you're coming in, let me know where you are in the world and what your main base is.
Tech finds it just slap. So this is my Opal webcam that makes you feel super confident, look great when you're on conference calls.
Hello, hello. Welcome. What's up, Gavin? What's up, Patrick? Bill, Leonardo. What's up, Leonardo? Yes, I did get the... Man, the camera thing, I think I got it resolved. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad everyone's here. And thanks for your patience as I get the tech stuff sorted out. There's a whole lot that goes into YouTube. You'd be surprised. Welcome. San Antonio, Jaguar base. Jaguars are awesome. Baltimore, Eastern Virginia. Check. Can you guys hear my voice? I'm going to gain it up a little bit for you. Hey, testing 1, 2. I think that's probably a little better. Nice and crispy, huh? Nova Scotia, welcome. Looking at a Squire Bronco for my first base. Yeah, Sean, that'd be a great choice. I'm just so glad everyone's here. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to tell you what. Today is about you. The reason is a few years ago, I thought that my music career was maybe going to be over, and it's not. So I want to talk about that, and I wanted to touch base with all of you and hear what you all think about this channel, what you want to see more with this channel, and we can make this whatever you want it to be. I want you guys to love this channel and being a part of this channel. So I'm going to tell a quick story, and then we'll just kind of open it up for discussion and talk about what we want to see with the channel. And I just want to thank you, because I wouldn't be able to do this YouTube channel without you. I love doing this. I've kind of fallen in love with making these videos and getting to hang out with all of you, and it means a lot to me. Hey, what's up, Rhett? Welcome. So I'm going to tell a quick story, and then we'll just open it up. So I was full-time music for, I think, 8 years, like full-time bass player for 7 or 8 years. Actually, Rhett in the chat, Rhett and I went to music school together, Atlanta Institute of Music. We graduated together in, was it 2011 or so? We both interned for a recording studio in Atlanta that was run by Rick Beato. This is before Rick started his YouTube channel. And I kind of started out my career as I wanted to be a session bass player. I wanted to be a professional bass player, whatever that means. I was like, I want to make my money as a bass player. I want to get paid to record other people's songs. That's what I want to do with my life. So I was like trying to figure out how to do that. So I was playing in like 4 or 5 bands. I was playing with Noah Guthrie and Good Trouble. I was interning at Rick's studio. I was playing at churches. I was recording on people's EPs and albums. I was producing EPs and albums. I was traveling with Noah's band. I was playing with a band, an artist named Sam Birchfield a lot. I had a band called Goldwing that I was a part of and helped write the music for. And I was just like burning the candle at both ends, playing in a wedding band. I was maybe doing 5 or 6 or 7 gigs a week and just going hard. This is probably, and also I got married in 2014 to Design by Shay, who's in the chat, who's the best thing in my life. And I was just going hard with music. I was a full-time musician, but it was really tough and wasn't making a lot of money, struggling even just by my best efforts. And right in the middle of this, I had this really bad hand injury where I basically twisted my thumb really bad, my left hand, which, as you know, if you're a bass player, that is kind of the strength of your sound, like getting the notes out of the neck. And it was a really discouraging, painful injury, and it wasn't getting better. And I kind of had to start pulling back from playing music as much as I was. And got to the point where it just wasn't working. So I was like, what can I do? I started trying other things, and I found the film industry. And if you don't know, in Atlanta, the film industry is one of the biggest film hubs in the world. We make a lot of movies, um, television shows, a lot of big stuff. A lot of the Marvel stuff is here. A lot of Netflix stuff is here. Disney stuff is here. Stranger Things, Walking Dead, a lot of big shows are filmed in Atlanta. So I was like, well, I know how to record stuff. Maybe I can like find a career in that. So then I actually met a mentor of mine, Marcus, who actually used to be a session drummer for Rick, Small World. Amazing session drummer and touring drummer. He used to tour with Zach Brown Band. Now he works in location sound. And he sort of took me almost as an apprentice. So I learned the craft of location sound for film. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. And this takes us up to the time in the story where the title and the thumbnail comes from, where I kind of let go of a lot of the bands I was playing with. I was still playing with Noah, with Rhett and Ian in Noah's band, because honestly, that was one of the only gigs I could do without a lot of pain, because that's pretty meat and potatoes rock and roll singer-songwriter gig, not super technically challenging. And I could play that music without being in pain. And the sets are very rarely more than an hour. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hold on to this. I love these guys. I love this music. And I was doing that and then working in the film industry. And I was having to start subbing out my own gigs in Good Trouble. It wasn't Good Trouble at the time, but in that band. So I basically I got to the point where I felt like every gig might be my last, because music was no longer my primary source of income, and the film industry is pretty full-time commitment, and I wasn't able to make all my gigs, and I was sort of in this place where I was like, you know what? I had a good run. I don't know if I'll get to keep playing music at the same level. I'm just going to play with this band as long as I can, and whatever happens, happens, but it can't be the priority anymore. That's kind of where I got to. But then about 2 years ago, I sort of started kicking around the idea of, what if I started a YouTube channel? Because I've seen firsthand, I've seen Rick Beato start his channel, and how that's grown for him. And then also my best friend Rhett, I saw him start his channel, and I've seen these guys like work really hard at their channels and then seen their success. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should give it a try. Because one thing about the film industry is you work really hard for, maybe you do 70-hour weeks for a couple months, and then you're off. Like you work on a movie, and then they wrap the movie, and then you wait for the next movie. So I kind of found myself sort of sitting around, waiting around in between shows or movies or gigs, not sure what to do. So that's sort of when I started this YouTube channel, and that was, I don't think, quite 2 years ago. And I was like, well, we'll see if this can become a thing, see if I like doing it, see what happens. And it's been awesome. Like I've loved doing it. And because of the YouTube channel, it's sort of allowed me to keep music a part of my life, but then also led to some opportunities that I never expected. So I'm grateful. I guess the whole point of the story is things don't always work out the way that you think they will. And also, it's okay. So I just want to say a thank you to you, a huge thank you to anyone that's watched any of my videos or been a part of this journey. I mean, there's a long way to go still. I'm not doing this full time, but I've just enjoyed it so much, and I'm grateful to you for letting me make these videos and for watching them and for caring about what's going on. So I just wanted to tell that story and say, hey, music looks different for everyone, be it professional or not professional, in quality or in career. I think everyone has a different picture of what music looks like, and I don't think it has to be one thing. So I just want to say thank you. And I want to open up this chat. I want to open up this time to all of you to say, this can be whatever we want it to be. This can be, I want to know what you think and what you want to see more of on the channel. I want to know why this is sort of a check-in time, because I just realized I posted my 100th video, and I just hit 23,000 subscribers, and that's thanks to you. So what I would love to know is, what do you want to see more of? Why did you subscribe? What are you excited about? And also, just throw any questions into the chat. So this is our time. This is our time to hang out, to talk about the future of the channel, and talk about some goals. And I want to make this something that we're all excited about, not just me. So first though, maybe we'll say this. If you don't mind, in the chat, tell me why you subscribed. Was it a specific video? Was it why are you here? Why are you in this chat right now? Why are you in this live stream? I would genuinely like to know, because I want to figure out why everyone's here. And I'm catching up on the chat now. And before I read the chat, I should also, I'm trying to get better at this. I want to tell you about a couple things. One, I have a workshop on Saturday. This is a Saturday workshop this coming Saturday. It's December 9th at 1 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time. It's called Timing is Everything. It's going to be a workshop on Zoom where we work on our timing and our groove and our sense of time feel. And I'm really excited about it. So you're invited to that. And there's discount Groove, all caps lock Groove will get you 33% off. So you're invited. And I'm really, really excited about that. And then also, if you can't make that, or if that's not your thing, I also have some courses. I have 4-String Fundamentals is a 2.5-hour base course, and that is on sale today as well. Same code, Groove, will get you a discount on that course. So I just wanted to invite you to both of those things. Those are things that you can do to help out this channel. And I'm going to catch up on the chat here. How to come up with good bass hook when working on a new song. Yeah, that was a fun video. I really enjoyed working on that one. Half rounds. Someone asked about half rounds. I am a huge fan of half rounds. I use them primarily on my Mustang. They're a nice hybrid between the feel of flats and the tone of rounds. They punch, but they feel great. So a lot of people don't use half rounds, but I would say you should try them if you haven't, because you might love them. Patrick says, I can relate to the injury. I had a wrist reconstruction surgery years ago. Didn't know for months whether my career was over, whether I'd be able to play at all. That's really scary. I hope that you have recovered from that. And I can relate to that. There was a time when a doctor told me I can't play for like 3 months, and I had to wait, and that's not a great feeling. Noah says, first video was your story about your favorite bass that you'd save in a fire. That was a fun video, my P-Bass video. Thank you for watching that. And thank you to anyone that has watched any of my videos. Could not do any of this without all of you. It looks like a lot of people have found the channel through Rhett's, which I'm grateful for. Like I said earlier, Rhett's my best friend, and we've kind of come up through the trenches together. We met at school over 10 years ago, and then we've been playing in bands together since, and recording and interning together, and it's just been cool to see his journey, and I've gotten to be in a lot of his videos over the years, which I've had a great time doing. I'm grateful for. So yeah, Rhett's been a huge positive impact in my life, just as a friend, but then also kind of encouraging me to start this YouTube channel. Oh, cool. Someone says, I can't remember the first video. I think it was Ian, Martin, Allison pointing me here, then ended up binge watching. Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan of Ian. If all of you don't, I mean, I'm sure you probably know who he is if you know who I am, but probably my favorite bass influencer and one of my favorite bass players and educators. So if you don't follow Ian on Instagram and other socials, you absolutely should. He's absolutely incredible, and he's a really nice guy. Ian Martin Allison. I really admire him. Amazing musician. Someone says the video of the spectrograph was awesome. Okay, so thank you. I'm excited about the spectrograph. That's something I want to do a lot more of. And that's something that I have borrowed from the film industry. We use isotope a lot in the film industry to sort of like analyze sound. It's really cool. So that's something I'm going to do more of, and I'm excited about. And All Things Weatherly says, thank you for the donation. Epic mustache, sir. It deserves a donation. I'm trying the mustache out. This is like maybe like 4 days of growth. My mustache is kind of unstoppable. We'll see if it sticks around. I always have to hack it off because it's just so unruly, but we'll see how long it sticks around. Bill says, I think I found you through Rick and Rhett. I remember when you started your channel, like hanging with you all. That's awesome, man. Okay, Floof the bassist says, I'd honestly say you, IMA, Ian Martin Allison, Rhett, Low End Lobster, Bully the Kid, and a couple others kind of melded together and inspired me to make my own content. So thank you for inspiring me. Awesome. I need to check your stuff out. And thank you for the kind words. I'm honored to be in the same sentence with those other folks because there's a lot of great bass creators. That's one thing I really do like. I think the bass community in general is pretty chill and pretty kind and inclusive and encouraging of each other. And I love that about bass players. Just in general, I feel like as a generalization, we're pretty chill, hopeful people. I hope that's true. And yeah, everyone's been really cool to me. So, oh, and look, Trigby Myers is here in the chat. Old Trigby. Welcome, Trigby. I think this is his first YouTube live chat because I texted him. I was like, dude, you should jump on the live chat today. And he was like, what do? I was like, you just jump in and type whatever you want to. If you don't know Trigby did a video with me this past week, and it was so much fun. And you should definitely follow him on social, Trigby. Trigby, put your Instagram in the chat so people can follow you. But Trigby's a good friend of mine. He's an amazing bass player. Actually, I should say, to tie it back to that story, when I hurt my hand, Trigby was one of the people that stepped in and helped cover some of the gigs that I couldn't do. And was encouraging and kind to me in that time. And I'm always grateful for that. And Trigby's awesome. So welcome, Trigby. And actually, Trigby and I are going to shoot another video here soon. I think we're going to do the Capo video. So stay tuned for that. Man, this is so much fun. This is part of why I love doing YouTube. Because when you film videos all day, you're just staring at this camera and you don't get to interact. But now I get to see and hear your thoughts and your opinions on things. So to recap, for those that are just coming back in, this is sort of a milestone day for me, actually, because I just realized I just posted my 100th video and I just hit 23,000 subscribers. And to you, I am grateful because I could not have done that without you. And I want to just kind of take this time to check in with all of you about what you want to see more of on the channel and just kind of like recognize I want this to be a community. I want this to be something. I want everyone that loves music or bass to just feel welcome here and to have something of value here and just to feel safe here. And I want to make the videos that you want to see. I want to make the videos that the bass player and just bass lover community wants. I want to find my space in that. I want to find my niche in that space that connects with you all. So I'm just open. I'm open to anything you want to share or critique or whatever. This time is ours and this time is yours. And I'm catching up on the chat here. And I should say too, December 9th, this Saturday, 3 days now? 4 days from now? At 1 p.m. we're going to do a workshop. It's going to be on Zoom and it's going to be really fun. It's going to be a rhythm workshop. It's going to be about getting better with your sense of time and your sense of groove. And you are invited. And there is a huge discount, 33% off to this to the folks in this live stream. So you're invited, and I would love to see you there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be like this, but it's going to be on Zoom. So I'll be able to see you, and you'll be able to see me, and we're going to talk together. And also, I'm really excited because I have a special guest. I wonder if I should say who it is. I'm not going to say it yet. But you're invited. And Drew says, I love your tiny song videos. Those are some of my favorite videos to make. They don't do well in terms of the YouTube algorithm, but they are so much fun. So I think one of my favorite ones that I've made was the Cab Calloway one, Dancing with a Ghost, or Playing Bass with a Ghost. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. That video didn't do well in terms of YouTube, but it was one of my favorite things I made this year. And I'm really excited. I have some tiny song collaborations coming up with some special guests. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do so, because there's some stuff coming down the line. Andrew says, I found your content through your comparison video between the P versus J, settled on the P bass. Great content. Keep it up. Well, Andrew, I'm glad you found it helpful, and I'm glad that you chose the P bass, because I am a P bass man myself. I love them both dearly, but if I had to choose, it's hands down a P bass for me. And I may have just alienated half of the chat, but I just have to speak my own truth here. So welcome to the P bass family. Thank you, Floof the bassist. I loved making that video. Tiny Song Life, man. Okay, so that leads into another thing maybe that we could open up the chat for, is goals for 2024 for you and for me. So maybe we could take this moment and just acknowledge, like, what do we want to accomplish next year? So let me know, what are your goals for 2024, and how can I help you achieve them with what I do? But one thing that I'm really excited about, I'm going to tell you about a couple of my goals for 2024. I want to do tiny song live streams. So basically do this, but it's like in the course of the stream, I have to create a whole conceptual song live and record it. And you can just watch the process, and we can hang out. It'll be fun. And it's easier said than done, because to do that, it's very creatively vulnerable. And then also there's a huge amount of tech and logistics involved with getting that where you can see and hear and monitor, and you can see the screens. And it's going to be a big multitasking challenge, but that's something I really want to do in 2024. I actually just got an old free TV 1993 Sony television off Craigslist. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put it over here so that while I'm doing the tiny songs, we can put like public domain old footage up of whatever the concept of the tiny song is about. So it'll be a fun visual thing. If you don't know what the tiny songs are, that's something I've been doing, where I'll take a specific a specific concept or experience, and then try and arrange a piece of music, a short piece of music that captures the essence and feeling of that concept or experience. So, like, for example, I'm going to do one, I think, in a few weeks with a friend of mine, where we go to the aquarium, the Atlanta Aquarium, and pick an animal, and then we have to make a theme song for it based off of that animal's attributes. Right? Fun, chill, creative vibes. And it's very freeing, because you don't have to worry about what anyone thinks. You don't have to think about what's cool. You just have to think of, like, what would that sea creature sound like musically. It's very freeing creatively. So that's one goal for mine for 2024, is to do live tiny songs. And I'm catching up on the chat. I want to see your goals. And also keep in mind, if I don't get to your question or your comment, just put it back in the chat, because I have a hard time multitasking. And I'm trying to catch up to the chat and scroll up, but then the chat keeps going, and I might miss it. So if I miss it, just put it back in the chat, and I'll get it on the next pass. Okay. Someone says, goal for 2024, going to be 16 years old, start a band with regularity, jazz fusion. That's awesome. I think you can do it. Absolutely do that. And also, the fact that you're 16 and doing that, that's incredible. Like, go for it, man. Or whoever you are. Just, I hope you do that. And I'm so excited for you. And let me know what I can do to help. I hope that, man, getting in a band when you're in high school is like one of the most formative, great things I think anyone can do. So good luck with that. I'm rooting for you. Okay, Chris says, goal, getting back on stage after 30 years away. That's a great goal. Chris, you can do that. I hope that you just wrangle that into existence for yourself, because that's an excellent goal, and I think you can do it. Catching up on the chat. Okay, Floof says, my goal for 2024 would probably be to get 1K subs. I'd honestly also like to start composing solo bass work. Been tossing ideas around recently. Well, I encourage you with that goal, and maybe the good people of the chat can help you with that goal. Maybe if anyone's feeling generous, go subscribe to Floof. I don't know Floof's channel, but I think everyone in this chat is in a relatively wholesome and encouraging mindset right now. I wish you well with your goal, and also with composing. I think sometimes we get in our heads about writing and creating things, and you just have to do it. Just have to do it. You just have to take the next step. But that's a great goal. Thanks for sharing that. Lance says, I subscribe to your channel because of your practical approach to playing bass. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. Okay. Catching up on the chat. Oh, and also, hey, Gavin, I'm glad you're here. Gavin's awesome. Okay, another goal of mine, while we're talking about goals, and actually, I have to complete this goal before I can get to my Tiny Song goal, because I'm trying to be strategic with things. I have another course that I'm working on right now. It's actually 2 courses. It's 2 mini courses. It's triads. So I'm doing a mini major triads course and a mini minor triads course. So some short, affordable, digestible courses that you could sit down and knock out in like a short amount of time. So if you're one of the people out there, and there's a lot of them, I'm learning, that are maybe a little bit overwhelmed with basic music theory stuff and you don't really know where to start, that's a resource that I'm working on for you. And I'm hoping to get it done in early 2024. I'm editing it right now, and I'm really excited about it. So stay tuned for that. And so, yeah, those are 2 of my goals. One is doing live Tiny Songs on YouTube, and 2 is releasing the triads course. 2 triads courses, major and minor. Drew says, for everyone that likes the Tiny Song aesthetic, you should promote Kudzu Hill. My creative friends and I really enjoyed that when you put it out. Wow, thanks, Drew. That's one of my favorite things I've ever made. I made that actually a few years ago, and that's basically what I did is I wrote a science fiction short story, and then I scored it. And then I went to 10 different living rooms and brought beer and food to my friends and bribed them into playing the sheet music that I brought to their house with my recording interface. And I basically recorded this ensemble of incredible musicians scoring this science fiction short story that I wrote. And I had a friend of mine who has an amazing voice narrate it, Lisa McNeil. And it was one of my favorite things I made. So if you want like a chill way to like fall asleep tonight or just vibe to, check that out. It's like a 20-minute little audio journey. And it's called Kudzu Hill. I released 2 things. One was just the instrumental songs, 5 songs. And then the other is the actual story. So it's like an audiobook that you listen to. And it's on Spotify. And it's 20 minutes. So thank you, Drew, for promoting that for me. And designed by Shay, the love of my life, is in the chat. And she just posted the link because she's a queen. Thoughts on the Zoom multi-effects? Everyone seems to vibe them, but I kind of like mine. I don't know. I haven't used one. No opinion. Okay. JRB asks, the vintage Mustang in yesterday's Rhett video, will you do a video on it, or can you comment on it now? Great question. I shot half of the video at Carter with Rhett. In a little look behind the curtain, sometimes you don't know what the video is when you start filming it. And sometimes it just falls into place, and sometimes it's not complete yet, and you have to sit on it and come back to it later. So for me, that hangout time at Carter Vintage in Nashville, where I was trying these awesome basses, that was the latter, where I didn't feel like the video was complete, or my thought was not complete. So I need to revisit it at the right time. But I did film it. And to answer your question, I was underwhelmed by that bass. It was a beautiful bass. It looked amazing. It sounds good, but just in my hands, it didn't feel, the stars didn't align over it. And that brings up an interesting point. That's actually something Trigvi and I talked about last week, is you can have an old bass, but that doesn't mean it's good. Or what you think is good is not what someone else will connect with. So on paper, I love Mustang basses. But when I picked up that really awesome bass, it wasn't what I connected with. What I did connect with, and maybe this is another goal for 2024, is this rad early 70s Telecaster bass with the humbucker, and it was sick. And I really want to get one. So that might be the complete videos. I've fallen in love with multiple 70s Telecaster basses, and I don't have one. So I might try and get my hands on one, and that might be the complete video. I don't know if that's a roundabout way of answering your question. That's a good question. Thank you for the question. Okay. Gavin says, my goal for 2024 is starting a band and getting some opening slots. Gavin, if anybody can do it, you can, and you should. If you don't know Gavin, everybody should give Gavin a follow. He's a really cool guy, and he just loves music and guitar, and he's been supporting and going to see my bands and listening to our recordings, and it just means a lot to us. Gavin's a super cool dude, and I just want to encourage you, man. Like, just do it. Just take the next step. I think maybe that's the sentiment of this live stream for all of us. I think all of us have something in our heads that we want to accomplish, and you just take the next step. You don't have to get there today, but just maybe that's it. Maybe it's like, okay, your goal for 2024 is starting a band and getting some opening slots. So ask yourself, what are the first steps to doing that? And what can you do today? And do the first one today. And then do the next one tomorrow. And before you know it, you'll be doing your thing that you had in mind and more. Okay. Len says, I purchased your beginner's course last week. Even though I've been a bassist since 1980 when I was 15, I can always learn something new, and learned from you just makes it that much better. Or learning from you makes it that much better. Thank you, Len. Thank you for your support. I'm honored that you checked the course out, and I'm glad that it's helpful. Someone asks, you got any tips for getting those opening slots as a new band? Okay. So I've been fortunate where I've very rarely been the organizer that wrangles the opportunities into existence. So that's not my strength, is telling you how to get those slots. But I can say, if you get those slots, there's certain etiquette with being the opening band. There's certain things that you need to do to show respect to the other bands. Because I've been on both sides of it. I've been the headliner with opening bands. I've been the opening band for headliners. and you kind of have to, there's some etiquette, showing up on time, prepared, not wasting time in sound check, minding your space backstage, not bringing a ton of people into the green room, making sure that the people that are in the green room have it at the time that they need it to prepare for the show. It's not just a hangout place. There's just some etiquette things with being the opening band. And you just got to treat it with respect. So, have you ever used the Origin Effects DCX bass? If so, would the cost be worth it? I actually have it. It's that one. It's up there. I think I might do a video about it at some point. I do like it. I like some things about it. It does sound very good. It has a nice drive. It's powerful. It's got a versatile EQ. It sounds good. I wish I had XLR out. It doesn't, but it's a great boost pedal. It's a great little EQ style, preamp style pedal to have on your board. I'm not using it right now because I'm using a different Origin Effects product to accomplish a similar goal that does have an XLR out, which is the super vintage bass rig. Origin Effects stuff is expensive because it is good and it's road worthy, and I stand behind it because I think it's great. Trigby says, play basses before buying them. Yes, that's a great word. Although I will say, I used to be very cautious about buying instruments online, and I've been really impressed with Sweetwater because I've been starting to do some collaborations with Sweetwater where they'll send me things, then I'll send them back or whatever, and they are really good at transporting instruments safely, and their return policy is really good. So I think they figured out how to do online music sales in a way that is actually really attainable and low risk. But Trigby is right, very right, in the fact that not all basses are the same. And until you put hands on them and play them, you might not know. Case in point, that bass I was talking about in Nashville the other day, everything on paper said that I should love that bass, and I didn't. So Trigby makes a good point there. I haven't tried the Strymon Deco, although I use the Flint a lot, and I love it. Hey, what's up, Nancy? Welcome. Okay, Steven says, I really just started on bass. What would be a good level to be at before starting your fundamentals course to get the most out of it? I think that if you just started, I think actually starting the course now would be good. I think that course, I worked really hard on that course. And I think we start the course with some basic technique of how to get a good fat sound out of the bass with your hands, how to hold it. Like, we talk about some 101 beginning stuff. And then from there, we start getting into basic theory and scales, chord tones, pentatonics, like boot camp for like basic theory stuff. And then same with rhythm. We start talking about how to find the groove with one note, how to like find the pulse in the music and lock with the kick drum. And then we just kind of build off of that and eventually start getting into some more advanced stuff where we're like taking actual songs that I recorded professionally, and I include like the songs without the bass in them, and you can play along and write your own bass line using the stuff we talked about in the course. So I think it's a course that would be good for a beginner. Some of it might be a little overwhelming. You might have to grow into it, but I think it would accelerate your learning process. I think most intermediate players would feel at home and challenged by it. And then I've even had some advanced players get some stuff out of it. So if you're interested in that course, it's on sale today. It's 33% off. And that link is in the chat. Designed by Shay is posting. But thanks for asking. And if you don't check it out, that's okay too. I'm just trying to get better at promoting myself. And to go full circle to the beginning, the story, I started this YouTube channel as like a kind of a side project, passion project, side hustle. But if you haven't been following, the film strike has been going on. So I haven't had a union job with my trade since June. And in that time, I have spent my time building this YouTube channel. And people like you, people in this chat that have been watching my videos, has been really helpful because the ad revenue, I mean, it's not a ton of money. My channel is still pretty small, but like the people that have bought my courses and have watched my videos have actually been really, really helpful to us because of, you know, I haven't been able to work my primary job because of these strikes, which actually SAG just ratified their contract, I think yesterday. So I think 2024 would be a lot of work, thankfully, for the film industry folks. But all I have to say, I'm just grateful to those of you that have helped me out by either watching my videos or buying a course or using the affiliate links. Those are all ways that you can genuinely help me out, and it means a lot to me. And I should say, too, I just started doing bass coaching, or music coaching is what I'm calling it. It's not traditional private lessons, but I'm doing these video coaching sessions with people like you, anyone that is trying to get to the next level with their music. And it's just like we sit down digitally through Zoom and just talk about your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. And then I can kind of try and help come up with goals for you and milestones for you and just kind of like coach you through the process. So that's something I'm doing as well now. So, so those are all ways you can support this channel. One is just watching. Thank you. Another is checking out the courses, checking out coaching. And then, like I said, I have a workshop this Saturday at 1 p.m. And timing is everything. We're going to work on groove. It's going to be really fun. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil the surprise. I'm going to tell you who the guest is. It's a really, really good session drummer who actually is one of my mentors. And he's done a lot of stuff on Rick Beato's channel. And he's recorded on a lot of songs that you probably know. He's like the real deal. So he's a really great drummer. His name's Marcus. And I'm just honored that he's going to be a guest on the workshop. So it'd be cool. We'll be able to talk about some of these rhythm things as a rhythm section or getting the perspective of a great, great drummer and how bass players and guitar players can like understand some of these rhythm concepts from a different perspective. So I think it's going to be a really fun workshop. So you're invited. It's on sale. It's on sale today. Code GROOVE, all caps, will get you 33% off. Both that and 4-string fundamentals is a sale for today. So I'm going to stop. I feel smear me promoting products, but I have to because it's part of my job now. So thanks for bearing with me with all that. John says, reason I'm here, albeit late. Welcome, John. I always learn something from you, Philip, and I'll just say it. You seem like a good guy, generous, erudite. What a great word. Thanks, John. That's very kind. And I'm grateful that you're here. And John's one of those ride or die folks. There are actually a lot of them in the chat. I'm seeing people that have been tracking with this channel for a long time and been a part of the channel for a long time. So you folks, the folks that are in this chat, or maybe watching this live stream posthumously after it being live. A lot of people watch these afterwards, believe it or not, which is kind of cool. You are the reason that I'm doing this, and you are the people that are making it possible for me to do this, and I'm grateful. I just want to say that. So, let's talk about, let's see. Maybe we could talk about some highlights of the year. Maybe we could talk about some of the things that have been good for us in our music journeys this year. So maybe if something comes to mind, something that you're thankful for musically, maybe a milestone that you've hit for yourself, or maybe something that a piece of gear that you always wanted and you finally got, or something that you've broken through to the next level on. Maybe that's a musical concept. Maybe that's a career opportunity. Maybe your band got to do a really cool show. Maybe you got out there on stage for the first time in 30 years. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you recorded a song for the first time. What's something that you did that you're excited about or proud of in the last year? Or if nothing's coming to mind, maybe what's coming to mind for you is something that you want to accomplish. You could also put that in the chat. So let's talk about some highlights, some good things, some things to be thankful for. Put them in the chat, and I'd love to hear them. This is fun. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Valentine says, hello from France. I love your gear video. Thank you, Valentine. I am thankful that you're here. And I love your country. I'd love to go back soon. Floof says, honestly, my junior recital was easily my highlight. I've gotten raving reviews about it for basically having it feel like a professional recital and more like a show. That's awesome. Well done. Recitals are nerve-wracking and challenging. Well done. Michael says, first show with the band where I was not anxious about effing up. Well, some people never get to that point. Some people are always anxious anytime they get on stage. So that's a huge accomplishment. So well done, Michael. Gavin says, playing my 30th show. Nice job, man. Keep it up. Keep doing your thing. Matt says, recording more. I'm not sure if you mean you did more recording than you wanted this year and you're excited about that, or if you're excited about next year recording more. But either way, I think that's a good goal or milestone. Chris says, highlight for 2023 was playing a sold-out show in London with my band. Congratulations. People flew in from the US and Europe and helped sing the chorus back to the band. Awesome, Chris. Sounds like you're living the rock star life. What's the name of your band? I'm sorry if I don't know off the top of my head, but Chris, tell us about your band, and maybe people can check it out. Matt says, did you do a video on recording bass? Yes, I have a few videos on recording bass. You can check those out. There's some videos specifically about recording to tape on bass in the old school analog way. But what do you want to know? Maybe I'll make a video about recording bass, because that's something I love and I can talk about a lot. So let me know what you want to hear specifically, or maybe I could talk about it in the chat. Also, people can just throw out random questions and we can go off script here. Keep in mind, if I missed your comment in the chat, throw it back, because I can't keep up with everything. So if I missed you, it wasn't on purpose. Just repeat it and I'll do my best to get to it. Matt says both. Nice. Let's see here. Sean says, I built a kit flying V this year, which is pretty cool. That's rad. That's really cool. Nice job. Lewis says, getting an A in music and getting into the college I wanted. That's huge. Congratulations, Lewis. Well done. Chris says, I've been wanting to play bass for several years. Previously played keyboards and guitar and finally picked one up 11 months ago. Now it's my primary instrument. That's huge. I feel like there's a lot of people that are bass players at heart that don't realize it until later. And then when they finally pick up a bass, they're like, this is who I am. And it's really fun when you get to see that happen for somebody, because I feel like bass players are a special kind of person. And I'm glad that you found it and that you're enjoying it. So welcome, Chris, to the bass player brotherhood and sisterhood. Trigby says recitals are no joke. I still remember mine, sweating bullets. Yeah, I think a lot of us have been there. Okay, Contra says, got a call up to play at a church conference and got to play with them and learn from a bunch of top-notch musicians. Awesome. That's great. And Designed by Shay is doing a lovely job of reminding the chat about the course and the workshop. And I'm trying to do better about self-promotion. So bear with me for the next 30 seconds as I quickly try and do this. Workshop this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Timing is everything. Going to be a really fun groove, rhythm, timing workshop where we can improve our sense of time together. I think that's one of the most important things that any musician can have, is a great sense of time, and we can all improve. So you're invited to that. The code is Groove, all caps, and I hope to see you there. I'll be on Zoom, so it'll be a digital video live class, one-time thing. You're invited. It's this Saturday. And then also, if you want if you are more of the pre-recorded, take at your own pace sort of learner, I have a course, 4-string fundamentals, 2.5-hour bass course. I'm really proud of that course. I really worked hard on it. That is on sale today as well, 33% off. And then also, I'm doing coaching now. So if you want to have one-on-one Zoom call with me, talk about your goals and how to achieve them, and talk about anything music, that's available as well. So Shay, Designed by Shay, is posting links to all that, and also the links to that are in the description. So I'm catching up on the chat. I'm not going to get to everything. Those of you that are sharing your goals and or milestones, I am proud of you for achieving them and for acknowledging how you want to grow. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. I'm going to read this whole thing afterwards. So if I don't get a chance to personally tell you how proud I am of you for accomplishing your goals and acknowledging them, I'm sorry, but I do want you to know I am proud of you, and thank you for sharing it in the chat. But I'm getting to the point where the chat is scrolling far up above where I have read through, and I can't get to all of it in real time. Okay. I want to talk about some of my highlights for the year, if that's cool. I'll be brief, but a few things, maybe not just the year, maybe the channel, the YouTube channel, because as I said earlier, just posted my video I did with Trigby, who's in the chat. Show Trigby some love. The one I just posted with Trigby was my 100th video, and I just hit 23,000 subscribers, and that is thanks to you. Cannot do that without all of you. So I'm kind of just auditing and checking in with myself and with the channel and with all of you, because I want to make this channel what you want it to be and something that we can all enjoy and be proud of. But some of the things that I'm excited about that have happened, one was working on this bass. This bass. I don't know if you saw this video. This is a Bronco bass, and heavily modified with my wife, Designed by Shay, who's in the chat. She painted this. Look how beautiful this is. She did this by hand. So she did this, and then I really worked on the neck and changed all the components, and I put I just spilled my drink. Alas. I'm not gonna worry about that right now, but I love this bass. Working on this was a highlight. You want to hear it real quick? I'm gonna play it. Can you hear this? And I'm playing with a ukulele pick. If you aren't hip to these felt picks, these are awesome. And I've also got foam in the bridge. You want to hear it with fuzz? This is sick. Check this out. I love this bass. This was a highlight of the year for me, was getting to make this with my wife, who's coming in with paper towels because I just spilled my drink all over the floor. I'm sorry, babe.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm such a mess.
No, you're good. I heard it from the next room over, and I was like, something happened.
Yeah, that was me spilling my drink.
Oh, clumsy.
I'm clumsy.
Boy.
I am clumsy.
No worries.
So that was a highlight for me. Was getting to work on that with her. Thank you, babe. I can take care of that later.
No, it's cool. I don't want to get on it.
Okay. Another one was I got to play with one of my heroes. I got to play with Tim Pierce, one of my favorite musicians, someone I really look up to. I got to hang out with Tim, and Tim has a awesome YouTube channel, Tim Pierce Guitar, if you haven't checked that out. But he's like a legendary session musician if you aren't familiar with him. And he played on a lot of songs that all of us know and love. Particularly, one of my personal favorites of his catalog was the whole Tarzan soundtrack with Phil Collins, which is amazing. And also, I looked up his discography. It turns out he played on the GoldenEye theme song for GoldenEye. Like, he's on a Bond song. How cool is that? But he's played with everyone through the years. And I had a special opportunity to get to do some recording with Tim at a Universal Audio this summer with my friend Rhett. That was a huge special honor for me that I loved from this year. Another thing that I'm really happy and proud of is I gotta open up for Willie Nelson with my band, and I gotta be on stage with Willie, and that was like he's one of my favorite artists, my favorite country artist for sure, and that was a really special honor to get to do that, get to open for him 3 shows, and then the last night he invited us on stage and we got to sing background on the gospel with him. That was like a once in a lifetime thing. I have a video of that moment if you want to check it out. I'm just thinking of some of my favorite things that have happened because of or a part of my YouTube journey. And then there's a bunch of other ones. I might get to some more in a minute. But I'm just grateful for the things that have happened. And couldn't be doing a lot of these things without all of you. So thank you.
Did you see the comment? Somebody had twins and brought them to a show.
No?
It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't see that.
I just thought that was cool.
That's really cool. Shay said somebody in the chat had twins and brought them to a show. That's beautiful. Oh, there it is. Huge one for me this year was having twins and getting to bring them to a few shows. Dream come true. That is awesome. Congratulations. I think you maybe just won the whole chat. Amazing. Okay. Someone says, this year I've been playing bass, pro/semi-pro for 40 years, treated myself to a Yamaha BBN E2. Incredible bass. Okay, that's cool. Congratulations on that. I've never owned a Yamaha bass. I kind of like to. I think Yamaha, I think they have the widest reach of things they're good at. Like, yeah, grand piano, jet ski, dirt bike, bass, golf cart. They're just kind of killing it at everything. Oh, what's up, Daniel Ard? Daniel's a lovely person I've known for a long time. Really great bass player and engineer. Yes, I do have flat wounds on the bass. I love flat wound strings. Can't go wrong with them. The trick though with flat wounds is they're harder to get to sit in a mix sometimes, and especially if you get into bigger rooms that have subwoofers, big line arrays, or also like if you play in like big churches, big auditorium style rooms, they can be hard to sit in a mix. So you have to be careful with your EQ, compression, and saturation. Saturation, I think, here's my personal take. I think flat wound strings and tubes are like peanut butter and jelly. Like they're greater than the sum of their parts. Because if you use tube saturation on flat wound strings, you're reintroducing some of the upper harmonic information that you don't have from the strings. And it helps that sound grip in the mix. So I think if you're gonna go flat wounds, don't go clean. Go slightly dirty with your tone, and your sound engineer and the ears of the people will thank you. That's my personal take. Liked the video on nibbles and other DIs. Helped me make a decision. I'm glad it was helpful. Give me some dirty old round wounds. Yes, Daniel's right. Dirty round wound strings. Thank you. Designed by Shay, everyone. Greatest thing in my life. Yes, I love old round wound strings as well. Daniel is right. He usually is right about most things. So if you see Daniel Ard in the chat and he says something, you should probably listen to him. Drew says, might have to leave, but wanted to ask for advice on a DI preamp pedal for my 15-year-old son who's starting to use Ableton. Okay, well, there's a lot of, that's a topic that I'd love to talk about. I'm assuming your son is a bass player, is that correct? And they want to do some recording and they don't have an amp. Is that the case? And then also, please clarify that question, and then also maybe clarify your price range, because those variables will determine the answer. And I feel like we have a grand council of bass players in the chat that could help you come up with the perfect solution based off of your needs. So just be a little more specific with your price and the application, and I bet we can come up with a good solution for you. There's a lot of good ones out there. And you don't necessarily need to spend a ton of money. Keep your milestones and goals coming into the chat. There was a question I asked a few minutes ago. If you're just coming in, we want to pause and acknowledge and celebrate some of the things that maybe we've accomplished in the last year or so that we're proud of, musical goals or musical accomplishments that you're excited about. We've had some great ones in the chat. I think another one I should mention is I've gotten to partner with some companies that I really look up to and have admired and used for a long time, at different levels of partnership, but like getting to work with Sweetwater and Stringjoy and Ampeg, Universal Audio, Kazlitter, smaller boutique pedal company, but like getting to collaborate with some of these companies on making videos or reviewing products or just that's exciting to me. Like I remember my first amp I bought was an Ampeg, and I used it to play my high school talent show, and I played Victor Wooten's Amazing Grace with this little Ampeg combo amp. And then fast forward, 15 years, and I'm talking with Ampeg about videos. That's really exciting to me. And I'm not saying that to brag. I just want to acknowledge that's cool, and that happened because of this YouTube channel, and that happened because of viewers like you, which sounds cheesy, but I truly am grateful. And if you haven't been tracking along, I am starting to do videos for Stringjoy. Stringjoy has a YouTube channel, and Stringjoy is a super cool company. And basically, Scott asked me, hey, I'd love for you to make a video a month for Stringjoy about anything bass related that you want to. Okay, so I've been doing a few of those, and it's been a joy to get to collaborate with Stringjoy on those videos. So definitely go check them out. The way he pitched to me was like, it's almost like he's treating the YouTube channel like a magazine, and a magazine will have different columnists or writers. You get different perspectives. So I've kind of become like the bass writer for the magazine of the Stringjoy YouTube channel, if that makes sense. So I'm a guest that makes one video a month for Stringjoy, at least right now. And that's something I'm really excited about. So if you want to see more of me, if you haven't seen enough of me already, go over to the Stringjoy channel. I did a fun video where the challenge was, can you actually get a jazz bass to sound like a P bass? And we talk about the science and how close can you actually get. That was a fun video. And I'm grateful to Stringjoy for the opportunity to do stuff like that. Okay, getting back to Drew. Yes, he's a bass player. He has an amp and access to my stuff, but I'd like to get him something he can have on his desk for like $200. Okay, I summon the great council of bass players in the chat. Let's help figure this out for Drew. The challenge is a great DI for Drew's son, $200 or less. Man, $200 that's not a small amount of money, but it cuts off a lot of the things that I bet a lot of us would like to recommend, because there's some great expensive bass DI preamps that we all love to romanticize. But I'll tell you mine. I'll show you, actually. Stand by. I'm taking my headphones off. Hopefully not knock everything over again. This one. If you want something that will never break and it will always sound good and it's not fancy, and this is assuming you don't need a ton of output, the Radial JDI has a Jensen transformer in it. I think this is new for, I want to say it's around $200, or you get one used for less than that. And this will sound good on anything. This is one of those like Swiss Army knife, like I could throw this out in my yard and bury it and dig it up 5 years from now, and I could play a record through it and it would sound great. This is like for a young son that's gonna maybe he's very responsible, but maybe he's not. He's not gonna do anything to this that isn't gonna let you sell this for the same amount later. I would get a used one of these. That'd be my take. And actually, I will say too, on the bass DI shootout I did a year or two ago, I put this in the running against the Ready and the Noble and the Color Box and a few other things that are over $500. And a lot of people in the blind test chose this. And that's with a passive P-bass. There's a myth that has been told that you can't go passive bass into passive DI, and that's false. Now, to be fair, you're going to need to get your gain somewhere else. Like I had to gain up my Apollo a little bit more with a low output P-bass with a non-active DI. But I mean, this is something, it's going to hold its value. It's not going to break you. You can use it for anything. That'd be my take for $200. SansAmp is also great. That'd be more versatile. SansAmp, I don't have one here. I used to have one. SansAmp is like a razor blade in the mix because it has this like presence knob where there's just like this very like SVT valve drive traction thing. They're great little pedals. Tech 21, they've been doing the amp in a box thing longer than I think anybody. And you could get a SansAmp, and that would give you EQ section and gain and a lot of surgical grit in your mix. For I don't know how much that is new. You can pick those up probably used for $200 or less. So those would be my two, because I think someone said Tech 21 in there. Floof said that. Len says that. I think those would be two good options. This would be more meat and potatoes. You don't need a lot of bells and whistles. This is just the good thing about this one is it has a Jensen transformer in it, which sounds really good when you slam it. That's actually a trick that my friend Robbie taught me. Is I'll use that flip top, 60s flip top. It has an output on the head that's like a powered out. It's like a really powerful output. They don't make them on amps much anymore. It's not like a speaker out, but it's like an additional amp out. So it's like a hot signal, and I'll run it through this and slam this Jensen transformer, and it sounds awesome. So the point is this can handle a lot. This can handle as loud a signal as you want to send through it, and it will saturate nicely because it has the Jensen transformer. So those are my two recommendations. Throw yours in the chat. I think you can go wrong with either of those. Great question, and I hope that your son enjoys making music with whatever you choose. Catching up on the chat. Okay, Steven asked a great question. Would you consider playing a just preamp DI on stage, or will you always bring full amp speaker stack or combo? Excellent question. So, well, and actually I need to pause for a second before I answer that question because I'm trying to get better at this. The workshop this Saturday, if you're just coming in, I have a workshop this Saturday on Zoom, and it's a rhythm workshop. Timing is everything. So if you want to improve your sense of groove and time, come hang out in Zoom, chat with me and some other cool or cooler musicians than me. And it's going to be really fun. It's going to be an interactive, fun time. And you're invited. Also, my bass course is on sale today, 33% off. 2.5 hour bass course, if you want to check that out, if you want to take the next level with your playing. And then also, I'm taking on private students for coaching. So if you want to hang out with me one-on-one on Zoom, we can talk about your goals and how to get there. But to get back to the question from a second ago, excellent question from Steven or Stefan. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I've heard both. Would you consider playing just a preamp DI on stage, or will you always bring full amp speakers, stack, or combo? Well, I think if I could have whatever I wanted, it would be a giant tube amp on stage every time. But the reality is that's not practical. and it's not possible for every gig. So there's a lot of times where you can only have a small pedal board. I'll give you an example. About once a year, I go over to Europe and I go on tour with a band over there, and I don't always know what my backline's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to have an amp when I get there. And I'll say I always take, I'm not going to, well, maybe I can pick it up. Let me see if I can pick it up without destroying everything. Here's the pedal board I'm working on. See that one in the front? The blue one? That's the bass rig, Origin Effects. That's a preamp pedal. I take that with me everywhere I go because you never know. For example, I did a radio gig in Holland. It was a last minute thing, and we show up and we were running late, and we had like 1 minute to sound check. No amps in the room. We were just plugging into this console. It was to be a live broadcast. It was actually on a pretty big radio station in Holland that a lot of people listen to. I didn't realize people still listen to the radio, but apparently there were a lot of people listening to the broadcast. It was a live performance. And I just plugged that thing in, and I got a pretty convincing SVT sound live on air in a different country. And I was really happy with my sound. So the moral of the story is if you have a good preamp pedal that you love, it gives you, it lets you go somewhere where you don't have control. Maybe you don't have access to an amp, and you can get a good sound in front of house. The people that actually hear you will hear a sound that you love and are proud of. So I think it's really helpful. So you don't, the point is you don't always have access to an amp. So having a good preamp DI is really good to have. But that was a great question. I hope I answered your question well, because I love having amps on stage. But I mean, also too, like a lot of gigs, it's just not allowed. Like a lot of churches, mega churches, I used to play a lot of mega churches, and they did not want you to have any sound at all on stage. And more people are going in that direction. So it's like you need to be able to get a great sound without actually making stage volume. I think a lot of gigs are going to be like that indefinitely. So being able to do both, some people can't do one or the other. They can, I think, being versatile, but it's really helpful to have. And catching up on the chat here. Noah says, sounds crazy, but after 13 years of playing bass, I'm finally taking the time to learn some music theory, and is making my 2-man gig so much less stressful to play. That's awesome, Noah. And I'm glad to hear that. And I don't think everyone needs to know music theory. I'm not a stickler about that, but I think knowing a little bit is helpful. And if there's anyone out there that is trying to learn a little bit and to be able to feel a little more confident with their understanding of music, check out that course. It's on sale today, and I think it would be a helpful resource for you. We talk a lot about basic theory and triads and pentatonics and scales and how to get around the neck and how to start coming up with your own bass lines. So that's an option. Daniel says the Origin pedals were what made me ditch my Sans amp after over a decade of use. Yeah, I'm not gonna make a bold statement on Origin versus Sans amp personally, but I will say right now on my board I have Origin. But the trick is the Origin pedals aren't cheap. I think this is like $500, whereas you could probably get a Sans amp for half of that, like we said earlier. So pros and cons. Cost, value. Maybe we should do a Sans amp video or Sans amp shootout. That might be cool. Okay, Daniel says, well, actually, let me come back to that a second. I'd love to own one of those bass rigs. I'm flipping between the SVT or black panel. Okay, that's a great question. So actually, Floof, if you want to hear them both, last week I did a video with Trigv, and we played both the black panel and the SVT back to back. And it was crazy how different they are, and also how they break up very differently. Their low end and their saturation is very different. And it's not one is better than the other. It's more, do you like an SVT style circuit, or do you like a Fender Bassman style? So I would say I love both of those amps in different applications. Like, for example, Trigv had his old Harmony bass, his 60s Harmony. It sounded awesome with the black panel, and that's a genre-appropriate pairing, like a Fender Bassman in the 60s with a 60s Harmony hollow body bass. Those the peanut butter and jelly, right? Those go together. Whereas like I'm playing primarily on my Mustang or my P bass. It sounds amazing with the SVT because that's like it's a classic pairing. Those go nicely together. So a lot of it has to do with your application and what you're doing. It's not which one's better. They're just two great pedal versions of great amps. But if you want to hear them, check out the video I did last week with Trigby, whereas the title is like this forgotten pedal blew our minds. That's the video if you want to check that out. Okay. Daniel says, one of the best suggestions for an application that Phil is talking about right now, if you're doing fly dates with backline, is to take a great preamp pedal and run into the effects return on the backline amp. Yes, you can do that as well. You can use, that's a good point, Daniel, once again, sneaky Daniel with the wisdom. You can bypass the tone stack of an amp and use your own preamp pedal. Or there's no rules that say you can't use both. Like I actually am kind of like, I'm using this super vintage in a way you're not technically supposed to because it has cab sim on, and I'll just use it and send it into my amp on stage and use both, but I'll send the XLR out of this. So front of house is getting the line from my board, but then I'm hearing the saturation through my amp behind me and using my amp as a stage monitor. That's often how I do it. But yes, you can bypass and use a preamp pedal as the preamp for a power amp if you want to. Not every amp can do it, but a lot of them can. In fact, I used this in that application on an Ampeg V4 and bypassed the tone stack on the V4, and it sounds awesome with the super vintage. Okay, Steven says, preamp TI would probably be my preference as I could more easily integrate it in my bedroom studio setup and then also use it occasionally on stage. Yes. A great preamp DI is versatile because you can use it, like you said, home recording, it sounds great, and then you can turn around and use it on stage or you can travel with it. It's just a good thing to have. It's one of those things that's just like, yeah, good to have around. Yep. And then would love to have a dedicated bass amp stack or combo amp, but I don't think I will have the room at home for it anytime soon. Yeah, that's a realistic thing. Like, not everybody has access to keeping a big amp or being able to play loud. A lot of people have neighbors and live in apartments, and then it's like, okay, you can have a great, really authentic sound in a little tiny box. Why not? I think that having access to being able to play tube amps loud is a privilege. And I think there's sort of some gatekeeping with people, purists, old school purists that are like, this is the best. And it's like, well, maybe, but like not everybody can afford that or use that practically. So I think use what you can afford and use it in a way that makes sense for you. There's no rules. Not going to go to bass jail for using a pedal. And Daniel says, yes, those are affordable. $350, that's great. Cool. I love this, man. I love this community that's happening in the chat. People helping each other out. This is what I want to do more of on the channel. I want to do more of this. I want people to learn from each other. I'm learning. We're all learning. Let's all help each other. We're bass players, right? Bass players help people. So let's see here. I just want to say thanks real quick, though. I just want to say thank you to you. Those of you that are here in the chat, those of you that have been watching my videos or been a part of what I've been doing on this YouTube channel. Like I said earlier, I just posted my 100th video, and I also just hit 23,000 subscribers, which I'm grateful for. This is sort of a milestone check-in moment where I want to check in with you and say thank you for being a part of this. And also, I want to hear from you. What do you want to see? What videos do you want to see? I'm planning my next batch of videos that I'm going to shoot. What videos do you want to see? What do you want to see more of on the channel? What do you like about this channel? Why did you subscribe to this channel? Or what do you want to see less of? I'm really open. I want to make this place this channel to be a channel for anyone that loves or is curious about music or low frequencies. I want this to be a good place for anyone that loves those things. And I want to make the best videos I can for you, because I really care about this stuff. This is the stuff I would want to talk about if I wasn't on YouTube. I just love this stuff, so I might as well talk about it on YouTube, right? I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. I'm just like, I love this stuff. Let's talk about it. Let's make videos. That's where I'm at. So what do you want to see? And yes, thank you. Thank you for the congratulations. And thanks for being in the stream. Thank you, Floof. More comparison videos. Okay. Well, my follow-up question to you is, what do you want to see compared? What do you want to see shot out against each other? And I will say too, I don't know if this is saying too much, but I do have this relationship with Sweetwater now. So within reason, I can get access to pretty much anything that Sweetwater has. I can't keep it, but I could, if there's something that Sweetwater has, I could probably ask to borrow it and make a video about it. That's powerful. So like, what do you want to see? Or also not Sweetwater things. I can borrow things, right? Like Trigby's going to come over next week and we're going to do a video about the capo because I don't have one. And that's actually kind of nice too, because it removes any bias, right? That's something that's important to me about the channel, is being really honest about the things we're talking about and doing blind comparisons. Okay, Lieutenant says, I kind of miss the tiny songs. I miss them too. That's one of my favorite things I've done. And the good news is I'm gonna bring them back. And one of my goals for 2024, I said this a little bit earlier, is I want to do some live tiny songs. So live stream tiny songs. If you don't know what a tiny song is, it's when I make a small piece of music based off of a specific concept or experience, try and represent it with music and sound. I'm going to do that live. It's going to be really challenging technically for me, but it's one of those things I really want to do. But to do that, I have to first complete my triads course so that I can release that hopefully in early 2024. So if you're interested in triads course, stay tuned for that. And also, shameless plug, the workshop is this Saturday, Zoom. I want to see you there. You're invited. It's on sale. Code GROOVE will get you 33% off. And also, the course is on sale, 33% off. And also, if you want to hang out with me one-on-one, do some coaching, bass coaching. I'm doing that now, or music coaching. Catching up on the chat. Okay, let's see. What are people saying? More comparison videos. More gear reviews. I can do more gear reviews. What gear do you want reviewed? Let's get specific. What videos do you want to see? Thank you for the congratulations, Len. What about some budget MIDI keyboard shootouts? That could be cool. I mean, I could talk about that. I'm not sure if the channel's going to... I'm trying to find the sweet spot of like how broad a net to throw with things. Like most of my people are bass specific people, but I could branch out and do some more synth stuff. That could be cool. Compressors, fuzz, drives, envelope filters, all cool things. Okay, bass and bass synth, that could be cool. We could talk about that. Okay, Grant says, hi from the UK. My question is, if you're rehearsing with one amp and then gig with another, what is the best way of checking your sound is heard as you want it? What about pedal settings? That's a really good question. So let's say hypothetically, there's an amp in your rehearsal space, and then there's a different amp that you're using, maybe a backline amp at the gig. There's a few variables that are going to determine. I mean, one way is like I was saying earlier, I have this preamp pedal on my board down here, and I'll rehearse plugging my board into an amp and then go and do a different I'll rehearse with the band, maybe with one amp, and then maybe I have to use backline at the show and use a different amp. But if I use the same XLR send both times from this pedal on my board, it will be consistent in both places to front of house. So that kind of allows it to be consistent. Although I will say, I do take some time familiarizing myself with an unfamiliar amp on stage, assuming it's not like a festival style check. I'll kind of like mess with the EQ and try and usually cut some problem frequencies on the amp to try and get it a little more level, because every amp has a different response and every room has a different like sort of resonance. So EQing your amp on stage can be really helpful, because it's not just the amp that's changing, it's the room. So kind of using your ears and your EQ to sort of get an amp response consistently, it takes some practice. And I will say too, if you're changing the EQ on an amp that's backline, you should take a picture of the EQ section on your phone before you change it, because maybe the band that's coming after you already sound checked with those settings, right? Sometimes I'll do that. Like, let's say it's a festival style thing where there's 4 bands on stage and I have 30 seconds to check, and I plug in and I hate the way the amp sounds. Take a picture of it, change the EQ, play the show, and then when you're leaving the stage, change the EQ back so that it's like you were never there. That's another trick. There's more things we can talk about with that, but for now, I'm gonna jump back to the chat. And thank you to all of you for being here, for being part of the channel. I hope I answered your question, Grant. Let me know if that made sense. More videos on using Moog and other synths as a bass. Okay, so it seems like there's a few people that are interested in the Moog thing. We could do that. That might be cool. UA 1176 versus Cali 76. I've got a few requests for that. That might be cool as well. Sean says I wasn't sure if that would fit in the demographic, but I threw it out. Thank you for throwing it out there. It's appreciated. I'm honestly not sure. I'm trying to figure out how broad topics to cover, because it's a great topic. What's the deal with the Art of Strat poster? No Art of P bass available. This is actually a really cool poster that I got in Athens at a garage sale. This is an old poster. Athens is a cool music town, and there was a musician in town that had a garage sale that I looked up to that had that for sale, and I thought it was cool. It's all the different colors of the old 60s Fullerton painting schemes. So I think it's a vibe. I wish I had a P-bass one. Alan says I'm a multi-instrumentalist, mostly a drummer, but I watch bass, drum, guitar, and recording videos, so I'm cool with any music content. Awesome. Stephen says, or Stefan, got to know you from Rhett's channel. What made me check your channel and stay was the great bass sound. Thank you. The love of your craft and the kind of tranquility you have in your videos. Well, shucks. Tell me more. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. That's very kind of you. And I'm glad that you're here. And also, I should say, too, those of you in this chat that don't follow Rhett's channel absolutely should, because Rhett has some amazing videos. Noah says, I'd love to see a series of would-be pick X type of bass going through the different bass brands, types, and what pros and cons going through Fender, Dingwall, Fodera, etc. Oh, that's cool. So maybe like this is what you need to know about these main flagship brands. That could be kind of cool. That's a cool idea. I'm going to make notes on all of these. I can't make any promises that I'll make them, but this is really helpful to get this sort of feedback from all of you. Thank you. Len says, I recall you mentioning how during your hand injury that you pivoted to synth bass in order to keep playing gigs. Yes, I did that. I did actually some tours where the music called for electric bass, and I talked to the band leader and I said, hey, I just can't do this gig. You can replace me or I can play it on synth bass. And they were like, okay, let's try it. And actually, you can make a synth bass sound really cool that doesn't sound synthy. That might be a cool thing to talk about. He used that one, that old Moog Prodigy from '79, has a really cool sound to it. Maybe that's something I should talk about. That's a cool idea. Love the mods and gig preparation. A lot of cool, thank you. A lot of bass players are being expected to cover bass and synth bass lines. Good for a discussion. Yes. Because also a lot of bass players are using the stomp or an octave pedal with a fuzz or something to get synth bass sounds on electric bass. Actually, somebody who's amazing at that is Ian Martin Allison, who we mentioned earlier. Maybe there's something there of like synth bass versus bass synth. That might be a cool topic. Because I used to have that on stage next to my amp, and I would go back and forth between my electric bass and an actual synthesizer. Because I think there is something to be said for the keyboard instrument is a different thing than an electric bass. You can emulate it with an electric bass, but the sort of ideas that you come up with and how you would play it are different. So I thought it was cool doing both personally, but also that's not always practical. So being able to get those synth sounds out of the same instrument is really powerful. That's a good topic. That might be something we should explore. Floof says, more Moog videos, tiny songs, good stream, big enjoy. Thank you, Floof. Good luck. And good luck with your goal of 1,000 subscribers. It'd be cool to pull the channel for who plays bass or whatever instrument. Yes, maybe we'll do that now. Okay, in the chat, tell me what instruments you play. Tell me in order of your confidence at them. So for me, I would say, for example, 1 bass, 2 piano / synth, 3 electric guitar. I'm learning electric guitar now. I'm really bad at it. It's actually really fun though. Tell me what you play. Tell me what instruments you play. What's your primary? And rank them in order of your confidence. That's a great question though. It's helpful to know. Tom says, UK bassist here. Hello from across the pond. Greetings from Atlanta. Found you in your channel when I wanted to learn more about valve amps. You guys say valve amps. We say tube amps over here, but I think valve sounds fancier. Your amp comparison video inspired me. Thank you. Thank you for watching that video, and thank you for being here. And I love your country. Man, valve amps, that just sounds cooler. Maybe we should start a coalition of Americans to start calling tube amps valve amps. I think there's something to be said for that. This is the first time in a long time I feel like the old days of the internet. This is nice. Let's do this live thing more often. Well, yeah, let's do this more often. I'm going to try and do a live stream every week. That's my goal. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with it, especially if the film work does come back, which it probably will in 2024. I think the first thing to go would be the live stream, unfortunately, because I want to try and keep making videos. But I'm going to try and do this every week. So, shameless plug, there's that little bell button you can set. So when I go live, you'll get a notification and you can hop in on this chat. So all are invited. I want to do this more frequently because I love this. I really enjoy this. Yeah, Woolly Mammoth with a Boss octave. It's great. But yeah, Ian is the king of those sounds. Shout out to Ian Martin Allison. Okay, Simon asks, sup brother, I'm planning on buying a bass. Would love to have a good P-style bass for not too much money. Any recommendations? Yes. Follow-up question, give me your price range and let me know if you're okay with buying used. That will help me guide you in the right direction. But it's a great question, and I bet we can come up with a good solution for you. I love this, that we have this council of of mighty bass players in this chat, because I don't know everything, but I think far from it. But there's some great bass players in this chat that I really respect. Some of who I know personally, and I think this council there's some wisdom in this chat. Okay, so let's see. I'm catching up. Bass and drums, cool. Guitar, bass, keyboard, drums, nice. Guitar, keys, bass, guitar, and synth, bass. Okay, this is interesting because it seems like less than half of the people, at least in this chat, are primarily bass players. A lot of them are bass as a secondary or a tertiary. Is that third? This is interesting. This is cool. I'm learning about all of you in the channel. Okay. It seems like bass is one of the most, a lot of people are primarily bass, but just as many bass is secondary. Very cool. Wow. Chris is bass, piano, flute, guitar, oboe, and harp. I think you have the most eclectic combination of chops there, Chris. Bass, upright bass, guitar, drums. Yeah, Drew, we're still here, man. Welcome back. You need a British bass twin like Scott and Ian. Well, actually, you know what? Shout out to my buddies. I was recently a guest on Johnny and that guy on bass's bass podcast, and they're awesome British bass players. A lot of fun. If you don't follow those guys, In the Pocket, I think is what it's called. You can find it on Instagram and YouTube. And they they just interviewed Ian. Full circle. There's a cool community of bass content creators that exists, and I don't know everybody personally, but those are some cool British bass counterparts. Okay, getting back to Simon's question. Yeah, of course, around 400 to 500. We're looking for Mexican. It's mainly for writing and recording demos. Okay, I'm going to give you my take, and I invite the council, the Grand Council of bass players in the chat, to chime in. But the question is, affordable P-bass style bass, around 400 or 500. I'm going to, yes, Johnny Dribble, yes, to answer Al's question. Yes, super cool British bass friend. Here's my take. I would say don't go Mexican Fender for that price. I think Fender, the Mexican-made stuff in the last 10 years, has actually drifted further in quality than the Squier stuff. Some of the nicer classic vibe Squier stuff I like better than the cheaper Fender stuff. So if it were me, I might go with a classic vibe Squier P-bass. And then that would be under 4 or 5 probably. If you got one used, if you could play it first. And then what I might do is spend some money on some good pickups. The pickups might be fine, but if you could get some, I put Fralin P-bass pickups in my P-bass and love them. So if you got a Squier classic vibe for a couple $100 used, and then spent a little bit on some Fralin pickups or some other solid classic sounding P-bass pickups, and then got a really good setup from a tech and put on some great strings. I personally use for round wounds, I use String Joy nickel. For flat wounds, I use Labellas. That bass would kill for under $500. That's what I would do. Let me know what everybody else thinks. Let's see. Oh, C. White asks earlier, ever get bored during a song and try and speed it up or slow it down? Any good tips for changing the beat to keep the band in the pocket? Sounds like you need to be at the workshop on Saturday. Shameless plug. This Saturday, doing a rhythm workshop on Zoom. It's going to be super fun, and you're invited. All are invited. And actually, really amazing session drummer friend of mine, mentor friend of mine, is going to be in the class as well, and he's going to share some tips. It's all going to be about working on timing and groove and time feel, and everyone can improve at that. That's one of those things that you never fully master, right? So I think anyone that wants to get a little better at their timing, no matter what level you're at, is invited to that workshop this Saturday. And also, that's on sale. And also, 4-String Fundamentals, my bass course, 2.5-hour bass course, is on sale right now. Check that out. And also, if you want to have private coaching lessons with me, one-on-one, that is also available. Yep. Daniel says Squire Vintage Modified. Yep. It looks like the council is agreeing. Yeah, it seems like I'm catching up. Most people are saying Classic Vibe, Squire are really good. They are. Made in Mexico, older ones are good. Modern ones, not so good. Personal experience. I mean, they're fine, but I'm just like, for the money, I would rather go Squire than Made in Mexico Fender right now. Freylins are great. I love those P-bass pickups. Lawlers are great as well. Oh yeah, Daniel bought my Squire that I did that to. Oh my gosh. You still have that bass, Daniel? I might have to borrow that because I miss it. That was a fun bass. I took a Squire and totally rebuilt it, and then I sold it to Daniel years ago. You don't have to spend a ton of money to get a great sounding P-bass. You don't. I think what's most important is how the bass feels and how the neck feels, and then the pickups. But you can get by with a Squire and get a great sounding Squire. I mean, case in point, I'll show you this real quick. Showed it earlier. But this is a Squire Bronco, which is like $200. And it's $200. And put a lot of work in on it, and my wife did this amazing art on it, changed the pickups. I think the didn't spend a ton of money on these components and got a really cool bass. It sounds really cool for not a lot of investment. I love this thing. Would you believe this is a $200 Squire Bronco with a $100 pickup in it? I love that you still have that bass, Daniel. It's in good hands. Okay, so real quick. Thank you. Thank you to you for being in this chat. You are the ride or die. We're the ones that are watching this video afterwards. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Could not do this without you. I'm grateful. And you're invited to the course, the workshop, this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Timing is everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. I would love to see you there. That's on sale. Also, 4-String Fundamentals is on sale. Those are ways you can help this channel and also learn some things, hopefully. And I'm really proud of those things. I'm also taking on private coaching students right now, if you're interested in that as well. All of that information is in the description and also in the chat. But I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you. I could not do this YouTube channel without you. I want to make this channel the best it can be, and I want it to be a place that you feel a sense of community and a place that you love to hang out, and you're very welcome here. So I'm going to sign off. This has been awesome. This went on longer than I anticipated it going, but it's been so fun. So thank you for being here. I'm gonna end the stream, but I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you and to those of you that shared. And we'll try and do this again soon. So thanks, everybody. Bye.